Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing really well. Summer is finally here. Tomorrow we celebrate the Noche de San Juan, which means the beginning of the summer season here in Spain. And also, as of next week, the Spanish authorities have lifted the restrictions on having to wear a mask outdoors. No longer mandatory. Indoors, yes, but not outdoors. Therefore, exciting few days ahead. In today's episode of a series of conversations with top representatives from the global luxury real estate community, I will be hosting Marc Topiol, chairman of Sotogrande Sociedad Anónima. Sotogrande was established in 1962 by Joseph McMicking, a Filipino-American businessman and philanthropist who served in World War II. Of Filipino and American origins, he was based in Manila, more specifically in Makati, where he, alongside some of his partners, founded one of the first exclusive residential complexes in Manila called Forbes Park. This is where he got the inspiration for setting up what today we all know as Sotogrande. When he came back in the 60s with two of his nephews from the Tobel Ayala family, he discovered a jewel in the Mediterranean Sea, in the province of Cadiz, overlooking Gibraltar and the Atlas Mountains of Morocco, and decided to purchase a finca and start one of the most ambitious residential and leisure facilities in the whole of southern Europe. Sotogrande, located in the Costa del Sol, is one of the finest destinations when it comes to residential real estate in the whole world. It has managed to position itself throughout the years as a hotspot for the high net worth community from all over the world. As opposed to Marbella, where I'm currently speaking from, Sotogrande differentiates itself by offering a completely different set of characteristics to its residents and visitors. Sotogrande is all about exclusivity, about privacy, about safety, about excellent sport facilities, education with one of the best international schools in the whole of Spain. And slowly but surely it's becoming a chosen destination for some of the wealthiest investors and travelers from all over the world. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. I'm going to invite Marc into the conversation. I will gather his insights on how Sotogrande is positioning itself at the moment in comparison to other global destinations, his strategic plan for the foreseeable future, and how the new opening of the Sofitel Esso Hotel will revamp the area in the years to come. So let's invite Marc into the conversation. There he is. Good afternoon, Marc.
Hi, how are you, Ugo?
Fantastic. And yourself?
Very good. I was happy to listen to you. I don't have anything else to say. You've said it all. You can take my job.
It's good to see you. You're looking great. Thank you very much for your time. I know how busy you are. Therefore, I really appreciate your time today.
Not busy at all. It's always a pleasure.
How is everything?
As the weather, it's blue sky. I think the entire team here at Sotogrande SA and the destination overall is really excited to see the summer just around the corner. We've been very busy since travel has eased a little bit.
Right.
We're just very happy to be alive again, as I think most of the world, and we're joining in that fairy time, let's put it this way.
It's been a bumpy ride the last 18 months, that's for sure.
It's been interesting on many fronts, and we're very lucky to be in this place. And clearly, we're also benefiting from the environment you just mentioned in your introduction. So
right.
It is what people are looking for, and we're happy to serve, basically.
Absolutely. Mark, thank you very much. Let's jump right into it. Let's begin with your insights into how Sotogrande SA is, implementing its strategic plan to position itself as one of the leading destinations in Southern Europe for the high net worth community. And what are your main priorities for the next couple of years, especially after this COVID pandemic?
Well, my first priority is to support Roberto Roca, our CEO, and the operational team in continuing the excellence of experience that we're trying to give and tailor it to the 21st century. That's number one. Number two, as we just quickly evolved and mentioned, we are in a place that is thought after, and the duplication of our profile and landscape and location, doubled with the fact that the real estate market is clearly in an uptrend with the outcome of the last year and a half. We're in the right place, and Sotogrande can I think enjoy to meet the clients and future residents' expectation in terms of lifestyle attributes and DNA that you very eloquently summarized in your introduction. So we're very happy to be able to serve. I think I'm part of a team that is really focused on the details all around, from the front line to the leadership that I'm happy to be part of. And more importantly, also the residents are joining. It's pretty busy as a destination. And as I said to my marketing team, we're the new kid on the block in Marbella now. I think we've shown some capacity to stand to the other district of Marbella and be one of them, despite us being 45 kilometers away.
Absolutely. You're the talk of town lately.
That's not for me to say.
I
hope in a positive way, but a long time ago I learned any publicity is good or bad. I'm happy with
Mark,
talking about
I've had the pleasure for the past decade to travel extensively around the world for work, and I've spent a lot of my time in the Philippines, in Manila. Mm-hmm. And I grew up here in Marbella. I never knew that Sotogrande had such a strong influence from the Philippines, from the Ayala family. And I believe a lot of people to this day are not familiar with the fact that what we know as Sotogrande today it originated in Makati, which is the center of the business district, all the way in the Philippines.
That is true, and some will say by accident on his motorbike, his brother stopped here and saw the four fincas and decided to buy what has become the largest private residential enclave in Spain with over 2,000 hectares. That's 60 years ago. I have to say that it's a mixture of culture. It's clearly the Philippines, and we're very blessed with having the Zobel family still very active here in the destination. They just took over the polo event this summer, and it gets back to the roots on the 50th edition of the polo tournament, which is another testament of the sustainability and longevity of our destination. But what is important for us is clearly to be in a position to serve and be aligned with the expectation of our time. So I'm sorry, I lost a little bit my thoughts here, but
no, it's perfect.
I
have all the time in the world. I don't know about you.
So if you want to, I don't know if I completely answered your question, but if you want to,
don't worry.
Put me back on track. I'd be more than happy.
I'll guide you through the conversation. I had the honor with my colleague Luca to enjoy a lovely conversation with you a couple of months ago here in Marbella. And we were both amazed by how clear your vision is when it comes to the development of Sotogrande as a destination, as a lifestyle hub, as a healthy spot for not only the high net worth community, but for everyone as a whole. Some would say 10 years ago that you'd be a madman, that Sotogrande would never be able to compete with Marbella when it comes to luxury real estate, when it comes to the golf courses, when it comes to the harbor. But as you correctly mentioned earlier, you are the talk of town for many reasons. How have you seen such an evolution from what Sotogrande was 10 years ago to what it is today in 2021?
Well, first of all, you give me goosebumps. You can't see this on the screen, but you're waking up my emotions. And with what you said, I just want to go back 1 second to the source and origin of Sotogrande. McMeeking is American from California,
Right.
and he was the private secretary of General MacArthur. And during the war in the Korean War, he ended up staying in the Philippines, and we know the rest of the story. But what is very important is his DNA is California. And when you go on the Paseo de Parque in Sotogrande on Costa and you see those palm trees that are Washington palm trees, I was thinking about the name, and you really feel you're on Sunset Drive Boulevard. And
Right.
it is, and the size and the width, which at the time in the 60s, were not as stringent as we have now due to environment, sustainability, and so forth. We clearly have an American type slash Asian background. So the Asian background is renowned for service and hospitality and attention to details. And the American background is a big dream, the American dream. And frankly, me, from when I arrived, and I don't think people, they're still saying I'm crazy today, so it's not 10 years ago or 6 years ago when we arrived, but I like when that connotation is, I like to be crazy in the sense of you need some megalomania in the business
Right.
that we do with a lot of empathy. So if you have those two attributes, you have a chance. But I was really helped by, first of all, our shareholder, which gave the team the means to be able to realize the dream starting in 2015. But that dream is really only the result of watching the history of Sotogrande you've outlined, and the effort was very simple. We wanted to bring the 21st century into what was a destination that was crossing generations. And one of the first words that I learned, unfortunately, when I arrived in Spanish was Toston Grande, which was basically a very passive environment. Which was the result not of anything negative from the residents or desire to be out of touch by anyone, but it was, we were hit by a crisis, financial crisis in 2008. At the same time, the second and third generation were trying to take a grip on the destination. So the public amenities or the infrastructure of the destination itself were not up to par, and we focused very heavily in what we called internally a clean period. A cleaning phase where we had to bring it back to being relevant again, to use kind of a word that has been popular for some 4 years in the US.
Absolutely.
So that's really for me, it has been easy, and having lived 20 years in the US since a little bit more, matter of fact, I was able to lead and only achieve all this with a great team around me, but to develop a vision and thank God I was able to have the means to materialize it. The result is what you see today, 6 years later. And our efforts are binary. We have to focus on Sotogrande, the destination, right. And that's for the greater good, because we cannot really monetize or generate our purpose from a business standpoint if the destination is not relevant, as we discussed. So we do two things, which is a fine balance and equilibrium between serving the destination, and we're the custodian of the brand because we own the brand as part of the company, and also promote our own assets, because at the end of the day, our purpose is to make sure people do the opposite of the rest of the year. How we do it is, La Beach, La Reserva Club, and all the different content that we support and sponsor or spearhead in the destination. And what we do is clearly a private gated community with La Reserva Club, and make it the destination it needs to be with the Sotogrande you just alluded to, and which is opening in about a month and a half.
Sure. Yeah. We'll go deeper into that in a few moments, sure. If you allow me, Marc.
Of course.
In previous conversations and on a daily basis within the luxury real estate industry, we are seeing that sometimes people or the stakeholders forget how important it is to work as a team and to, work towards a common goal, which is the promotion of the destination itself. It's not all about the asset anymore. You can have a very nice property anywhere in the world, but if the destination is not correct, you can build it, but they won't come. And that is proving to be the case in many parts of the world, as you already know. Marbella has had amazing glory days back in the 70s or even in the 60s as well, when the Hohenlohe family came. But Marbella is such a completely different ecosystem to the one you find in Sotogrande. Can you tell us a bit more about what differentiates Marbella to Sotogrande, and without highlighting any negative aspects of any of the destinations, but what can you find in Sotogrande that you won't find here in Marbella?
First of all, as an overall umbrella of how I think and how I hope the company and our marketing conveys, there's nothing bad with anyone. There is really what fits to you.
Right.
And, we basically, from a market standpoint, we have, from a real estate residential standpoint, we have 4 competitors in the area. What I call the Marbella, the Greater Marbella. We have the Sierra Blanca and the Golden Mile zones, which are urban destinations with high quality real estate and residential experiences. You have La Zagaleta, which is very private and based on security and closeness to Marbella, but some part of La Zagaleta are, even further than us.
It's further than Sotogrande.
So, I mean, this is all perception, but perception is reality. We have to live with that as human beings, and that's fine. It's more independent, and it's more how to show your home, because geographically and topographically, all the home sits on top of a little mount in Marbella, so they're very visible, which is perfectly integrated in the setting and fits well. Then the third competitor, if we want to use that to set the parameter, is Finca Cortesin, which its success is founded on creating a great hotel experience and hospitality and bringing new standard in Spain, which no one would thought would be possible until they did it. So I only applaud their stamina, because they opened in 2008, which was not easy, and the Lopez family has been great, and so they're all good concepts. They all managed by great teams, and they push their own profile. So if that's and then we are in Sotogrande, a family based, and we've been there for 60 years, where you don't show, you kind of want to be discreet. Which always has the plus and the negative in discretion, but that's the general feeling. You are relaxed, it's shabby chic, and it's a residential place. There's only 300 hotel keys in the entire Sotogrande area. It's not a touristic destination. And for like you have one in Quinta do Lago, which is another competitive set in terms of when you talk about real estate offering and trying to bring in or introduce your offer to the European market. So all those destinations, places, communities are great if they fit you. So we're just here, one of them, and we're very lucky that there is no competitor within our own DNA.
Right. That's what. Sorry to interrupt you, Marc.
No,
correct me if I'm wrong. That's what makes the Costa del Sol so unique, that it caters to so many different demographics. The younger, the more affluent, the more discreet. You have it all within a 120 kilometer radius, and I think that's pretty unique in the whole of Europe.
Yeah, you have it in a microcosm as well in Ibiza, where you can have one side of the party island and the other side is the countryside. You can't believe you're in the same island.
Right.
Yes, I think the blessing we all have in the Costa del Sol is accessibility and being able to offer spontaneous decision of coming, be it as a tourist for a long weekend, or just you want to play golf or ride a horse or just bike off-road in the backcountry or go and race in Ascari, whatever you want to do, I think, including the water sports based activities from Tarifa and all the way here at Sotogrande as well. You do kite surfing to a great extent. You you are able to decide wherever you are in Europe on a Thursday, because you've seen a content on this great social platform we're on, or some genius marketing whiz and pushing some information, and you decide, well, it's 5 degrees in Stockholm today, I want to get in my plane, and tomorrow and 4 hours later I'm in Malaga doing kite surf. Or I'm in Marbella, or I'm in Sotogrande. So it's this spontaneous aspect is fundamental, and I think that's what makes Costa del Sol so attractive, not to mention the weather, clearly, and the openness.
Let's talk about Reserva de Sotogrande as one of the most upcoming hotspots for both leisure, entertainment, and residential luxury real estate. No one would have thought a decade ago that the price points that we're seeing at the moment, and congratulations, by the way, for the latest transactions taking place in this neighborhood. No one would have thought houses could sell for 10 million euro 10 years ago in La Reserva de Sotogrande, and it's proving to be the case. So once again, those that called you a madman back then, now they have to swallow their pride.
That's not my issue. My job is to wake up. I'm happy to wake up in the morning to serve one purpose, is to make sure families decide to experience, hopefully, what is the opposite of what they do the rest of the year. It's that simple, and that's what the entire team works towards. And we deliver quality and experience and hopefully attention without any fluff or without any bling bling. It's a place where all the attributes are there, and we just have to believe. And when you believe, you work, and you work every day, and something will happen. I think despite all the negative side of the pandemic, which has been hurting economics and families, and my heart goes to all the ones that are suffering, the Sotogrande as a destination, became a polar point in what people now are looking for, which is fundamentals and authenticity and essentials in life. And we've been surfing those attributes in our experiences long before COVID, and they just come to the front. So I'm not for anything in there other than continuing believing and being supported by a great team in terms of conveying that why are we waking up in the morning, and why does La Reserva exist? It's very simple: to allow you to do the opposite of the rest of the year, and do it in a safe environment, in a family-based community, and where you're part of the neighborhood.
Right. And when it comes to current and future projects within La Reserva, I believe the 7 is the jewel of the crown, correct?
Yes, the 7 has been on our table for 5 years. We had to create a concept to help us bring what was La Reserva when we bought it, which was basically a golf course in need of upgrade, and residential land. And you have a lot of those in Costa del Sol. We embarked on creating a place that is within the enclosure of La Reserva, the 600 hectares that it represents. We embarked on a vision early 2015 to create attributes such as the beach that is right behind me. I don't know if you see it. Whoop, sorry, right here.
Such a unique place.
Yes, and it was done with the simple objective of bringing inside La Reserva all the iconic activities, with all measures, obviously, because we cannot replicate the Mediterranean Sea in full size inside our property, but just to have points and touch points and be able to sensitize the emotions of oneself into making this a permanent place for their family, and seeing their kids happy and not wanting to see their kids cry when they live. So it's very childish approach in terms of business, but as I usually say, if my grandmother cannot understand it, then I'm doing something wrong. And
absolutely,
I guess that's what we try to do: stay simple.
Absolutely. Marc, you spent a considerable amount of time of your professional career within Marriott International, hotelier, and part of the management team for many years around the world.
Sure.
How has this helped you to apply the skill set that you gained throughout those years into your management style today?
I'm not the one that is going to be talking about my management style. I'm pretty brutal in terms of having an idea and going through it. I mean, you need to. I mean, it was just the beach was a 3 years of frustration of riding your bike without seeing the finish line. And I'm pretty good at staying on the bike and pedaling. So management sometimes for me is seen by others might be quite brutal, but there's a purpose behind it. And so aside from that, I think the management side, I'm more an entrepreneur in terms of the way I think and what I do, which is why I'm not with Marriott anymore. I left them in 2004 after going around the world and creating different destinations, including the Ritz-Carlton Club as a corporate branded concept with a group of other people very talented within Marriott and the Ritz-Carlton Company. But what it taught me is service. And what it taught me is empathy. You don't really learn empathy, but it becomes more on the front of who you are. So, you know, my management style is twofold. Is megalomania, as I said earlier. You have to dream big and you have to get a goal. You know, in English, it's easy to say, people tell you it's impossible. For me, impossible, the wording of impossible is the I, am, the M, and possible. So you just go and move on with your life. As soon as you've set a target, you just go and face this obstacle, go around, or whatever you need to do and get to your finish line. It might take a day, it might take a year. In our case, with La Reserva Club, it took us 5 years. And never give up. That's really what I learned also with Marriott. You have the projects I was involved there took years, and that's also something that maybe was essential. Being involved in this kind of business doesn't happen overnight. It's like a car, building a car, a new car concept takes years, and you have sleepless nights, and you don't know what you're going to achieve, if you're going to ever see the light of day. You doubt, you're scared, you have your guts are torn apart, and people lose belief, and it's my experience with Marriott gave me, I think, the confidence that anything is possible. So Absolutely. You hear that in management, but that's what I learned from Marriott: empathy and giving directions.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Very important few months coming up with the opening of the Sofitel SO.
Yes.
Surprisingly, apart from Amenada, which is now becoming a 5-star hotel, the area has never had a top-notch 5-star hotel, and finally it's here. Were you involved in the whole process, and what do you think how much value it will add to Sotogrande as a destination?
Well, first of all, there is one 5-star or even 6-star hotel with Finca Cortesín, which, despite being
apart from Finca Cortesín
in the Malaga province,
it's not affordable to most of the humans out there.
We're very lucky to have join the Sotogrande family and the Sofitel Group and Accor. We tried several things. First of all, the French touch, being French and American,
helps a bit.
Close to my heart. I think it's going to bring a mix of flavors. So, as a lifestyle brand for Sofitel, tends to focus on local culture and attributes, and puts a twist, wrapping of French and international culture. So it's going to be a very interesting overall concept. From a pure hotel standpoint, you're absolutely right, Ugo, that it's the first time we have a hotel of that quality. And this joins at the same time a renewal on many fronts in terms of content. The deep sea fishing, the tuna season just opened 5 days ago. It's fantastic for people that love this kind of sports, because it's a sport. Respectful also of the environment with quotas and things of that nature. You have the horse environment, which has benefited over the last 5 years. We're definitely not the only one, with the Ayala family, the Zobel family with the Ayala Polo Club, Las Dunas, a great concept with the Byrne family, with Polo Valley, where you really have a lot of content around horses, dressage, learning polo, jumping, or just the balade in the backcountry that is absolutely phenomenal. And golf is known also associated with Sotogrande, thanks to Mr. Patino and Valderrama Real Club Valderrama, and what this icon represents within golf within Europe, but also joined by Real Club Sotogrande, the historical club developed by Mike Meeking and Robert Trent Jones. And more recently, San Roque, who got out of bankruptcy thanks to a new benefit owner and who completed the renovation. So you have a unique destination within golf for Europe. I call it the Pebble Beach of Europe because you have 4 courses within a 5-kilometer radius, and now you have a hotel where you can stay. You don't need to go to Marbella or Estepona or even Finca Cortesín. Sorry, Rene, we are coming on the market, but I'm sure you'll be doing very good if you're listening.
Absolutely. I can't wait to visit. Can you share when is the opening?
The opening is going to be end of July.
End of July.
Yes.
I will check my inbox for an invite.
You will get one. Be sure about that.
Just 2 more questions, Mark, if you allow me. I know you're there very busy. Therefore,
no. It's the first time I do this, and I'm enjoying it.
Oh, it's the first time?
At the beginning. Yes, it's.
I'm honored to be your first host.
Look at my hair. I'm not kind of generations, whatever it is now.
It's completely disrupted the whole game, this technology.
Well, it has also helped us become the new kid on the block in Marbella, because without the digital world, it would have been much more difficult to be talked about. So I'm blessed for that support. And having a good marketing team that understands it, because me, other than pushing a button to pick up a phone, I'm not really good at this.
Well, you guys are doing a tremendous job. Absolutely.
Not me.
Well, your team. Okay, let's leave it to your team then. Mike, when it comes to the profile of buyer that we are seeing now in the Costa, well, not in Costa del Sol, in Marbella and Sotogrande, have you seen a change as well in Sotogrande? Because here in Marbella, what the profile used to be would be, you know, middle-aged Scandinavian, Northern Europeans, sort of retiring or buying a second or third home. And now in the last 2 to 3 years, with all this digital disruption and all this Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and you name it, we are seeing a whole new segment of society which has become all of a sudden extremely wealthy. And they are purchasing property. We're talking about 25, 30-year-olds buying 10 million euro properties. Have you seen a shift in the type of buyer?
Yes, I mean, this is evident that wealth is created much faster now. But our real estate starts at 600,000 euros, so you don't really need to be uber wealthy or in the stratosphere of dispensable income to be able to enjoy the lifestyle in Sotogrande. But yes, we have up to 17, 18 million property on 1 hectare parcels in private gated communities. But we've seen in time. I mean, new generations are coming. They're making money faster, but we're not yet. That's when I said earlier, it has to fit the shoe of Sotogrande has to fit your foot. The 25, 30 are more inclined of party and what Marbella has to offer more readily available. You can go and party by having a house in Sotogrande, but it's 30 minutes away. And you have to take one of our transportation vehicle and be pampered. You can have all the fun you want, and then we drive you back and you are home. But it's the instant gratification is also something that is very important in the time we live, and first degree in when you're 25 or 30 years old is easier for them to understand ownership in La Zagaleta or ownership in Sierra Blanca and with Andalusia, despite the fact that the density is completely opposite of what we have. They're not yet. Right. I think we're starting to see sensitivity to the environment in the younger generation. I think it's the younger generation, the ones that are below 18 years old, are very sensitive to the planet we're going to leave them. The one in the 25, 35 might be sensitive, but I think when they have the means, they more propensity of social media helping to compare and be visible. And Sotogrande is not the natural stage. So what we've seen is 40 to 55, so not at all the 55, we see that as well, obviously, but I think the shift we're seeing is with the mobility of work and the capacity of transportation and accessibility, we see much more demand from young families, kids that are younger, and so you can have kids at any age, obviously. So I'm focusing on, I think my answer is more focused on young families that can benefit from the school, that can benefit from the transportation flexibility, where their origin and home country and family staying home is easily accessible or transportable from one end to the other. That is a family-based, and we see more and more younger because of their capacity to acquire property. So definitely yes, but not for the reasons of party and things.
No, absolutely no. There's enough party in Marbella.
Yeah, but it's a good thing. You want to have fun in life.
Marc, final question. What is the legacy you would like to leave behind when the day comes, when you look back and say, okay, my sleepless nights were worth it? In a nutshell, what is the Sotogrande of the future that you envision?
Well, we talk about Sotogrande in the next 60 years. That's somebody else, but obviously, I'm a drop in the bucket. That's certainly insignificant from the standpoint of the destination. I just happened to be at this place at this time where crossroads were happening, and you had to find a direction. And I'm lucky to be part of that team that creates those new amenities. Being the hotel with Roberto and his team, and me, and we created La Reserva, the real estate experiences, because it's much more than real estate. It's experiences first and real estate second. That we're still around in 60 years. That's my only blessing. And maybe someone will say, look at this crazy guy, what he did. I don't need a street in my name. I don't need to be out there, but I need to be the keeper of the vision. And that's my role. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed this conversation, Marc. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this will be used by the audience as an insight into what Sotogrande has to offer and its history, which is truly magnificent. Once again, I appreciate your time, and I really hope to see you very soon.
You will. We're not very far away. We're just like this away, but I want to thank everybody who joined on this live cast, and looking forward to seeing you around. And don't hesitate to reach out to me if you're here. Happy to meet you and listen to what we can improve, because we can always learn. So
we're starting to spend more time in Sotogrande, so I'll definitely give you a call to grab a coffee. And if not, I'll see you in July, because you promised me the invite to the opening of Sofitel.
You'll be there when we open that hotel. That's for sure.
Thank you, Marc. Have a great day. Thank you for your time.
Everybody.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.